We're going to turn now to President Trump and Elon Musk's latest moves to reduce the federal workforce. Some of the workers who had been the victim of the mass layoffs are now being rehired. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott tracking the story from Mar-a-Lago. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. And we know these federal agencies are moving quickly with the orders from the administration for mass cuts and firings, so much so that the administration this morning is acknowledging that some workers were let go by mistake. This morning, as the Trump administration works at a breakneck pace to shrink the federal workforce, ABC News learning mistakes are being made. Food safety and inspection officers for the Department of Agriculture, vital to the nation's bird flu response, fired over the weekend, just as the outbreak intensifies in the U.S., driving up egg prices. But a spokesperson says those workers are now being swiftly hired back. And that's not the only agency to reverse course. Hundreds of workers at the National Nuclear Security Administration fired, then nearly all rehired days later. Sources say some officials were unaware the agency is responsible for managing the nation's nuclear stockpile. The president says he has no concerns about how that was handled.
In some cases, they'll fire people and then they'll put some people back, not all of them, because a lot of people were let go.
Thousands of workers fired at the Department of Health and Human Services, where the new secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., plans to investigate the childhood vaccine schedule, even after he promised to support it in his confirmation hearing.
I promise to listen to all the stakeholders, all the parties to the conversation, including the ones, especially the ones with whom I've disagreed in the past. I promise to keep an open mind.
But the head of the FDA's food division, under Kennedy, is stepping down. Jim Jones saying the firings at the agency demonstrate the Trump administration's disdain for the very people necessary to implement the department's agenda of improving the health of Americans. Sources say among those fired, staff working on nutrition and food safety, reviewing potentially unsafe food ingredients. Top officials at the Social Security Administration and Treasury Department resigning too, after Elon Musk's staff demanded access to sensitive information about millions of Americans. A federal judge yesterday refused to immediately block Doge from accessing government data systems. The judge saying there are legitimate questions about what appears to be the unchecked authority of an unelected individual, but said the states who sued failed to show how Doge poses irreparable harm. Democrats and critics insisting there's no oversight.
Do you think that Elon Musk is staying up night just worrying about excessive spending in the CDC? I don't think so.
For federal workers like Justine Ballou, who worked for the Department of Agriculture, the last several days have been a complete roller coaster.
I was 3 days away from my due date on Friday when I got that termination letter. And I had my baby yesterday, right on time. And but no, my paid maternity leave is off the table, and my health insurance is set to lapse at the end of this month.
So adding to all this confusion, we have spoken to some federal workers who opted in for the federal buyout program to resign and be paid through September, but then they were fired anyway. They told us they are now receiving conflicting information from both the administration and their direct managers about whether they still have a job, Michael.
Yeah, Rachel, I think it's confusing for everyone. All right, thank you so much. We appreciate you.